So that's good. Hey, Michael. Vanessa, I haven't seen you in a while.
I know, I hated missing this, but it was unavoidable, and I'm so glad to be back today.
Yes, yes. Well, we miss you when you're not here, you know.
Thank you. I miss you guys too. Thank you.
Hey,
Good
Charlene.
morning.
Good morning.
How are y'all?
Doing well, doing well. How are you?
I've got COVID,
Oh, sorry.
but I'm getting the end of it now, I think.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I hope.
Yeah, it just keeps coming around, doesn't it?
It does.
I was hoping that for about a week. Took
Oh,
forever.
that
And I never got a positive test either, so I'm not even sure if it was COVID. So
I
Yeah.
got a positive. I got a positive Saturday, and then again this morning.
Oh. So, I mean, what do? You just stay home now? They're saying you don't even have to quarantine really, but I guess
5
you know
days.
if you don't feel well, you're just as better off
Man.
staying home.
About to. I'm not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not seeing that. Love you, bye.
Greetings,
Morning, Michael.
everyone. Good to see
Good
you guys.
morning.
Welcome back, Vanessa.
Thank you. Glad to be back.
Well, yeah. So glad to have you. Once again, today we are going to do Facebook Live by request. So I'll start that in just a moment, but wanted to welcome all of you. And again, thank you for being here. Am I still on? Did I just go away?
You're still here.
Okay.
Still here.
Let me find it again because it just kicked me off on my end. There you go. Okay. Sorry, my computer just made all of you disappear. All right. So good to see you. I'm going to start Facebook and then we'll get started. All right. Welcome to Meeting Mondays. Thank you so much for being here. Those of you who are here by Zoom and those of you joining us by Facebook Live, very glad to have you. Today, I want to talk about something that we all deal with at various times in our lives and on an ongoing basis. And how we deal with it is going to determine our lives, going to determine the quality of our lives. This is that important. This is that meaningful. And it is how to deal with setbacks. There's not a one of us that haven't had setbacks. The definition of setback is a reversal or check in progress. A difficulty, a complication, a disappointment, a misfortune, a mishap, a piece of bad luck, something unfortunate, an unfortunate development, a blow, a knock, a stumbling, a hindrance, an impediment, an obstruction, a delay, a holdup, a foil. How many of you have experienced setbacks in your lives? We all have. It is something that we continuously deal with. And like I said before, I really believe that the issue of setbacks is not whether they're going to happen, because they are going to happen. We are going to experience setbacks in every area of our lives. But it is how we deal with them. How do we respond? I have said this before, I'll say it again. If you look at great actors, what they do is react. They're so live and present in the scene. They're listening to what their co-actors are doing, watching, observing. They're so present, they become that part and they just react. And you and I, on a ongoing daily moment-to-moment basis, are given opportunities to react to life, to react to circumstances, to react to setbacks. And how we do that is going to determine our lives. So let's talk about that. But before we really jump into how to deal with setbacks, I want to give you the key to not having any setbacks, or very, very few. Would y'all like to hear that? This is highly significant. This is something that it's I can't overstate how, what a secret power this is that I'm about to share with you. It's wow. Are you sitting down? Okay. If you want to have little or no setbacks, then you need to not do anything. Do less. Don't attempt anything. Don't attempt anything new. Don't try anything. And you will lessen the number of setbacks you have. Now, you will, life is what it is, and you're going to die, and I'm going to die. And that's a pretty big setback to our progress. So we're going to have setbacks no matter what. But if you want less of them, just do less. Don't try anything. Don't put yourself out there. Again, don't attempt anything new. Just sit on your couch in your comfy chair and do as little as possible. Now, we could stop there. That could be the end of today's session. But I imagine since you're joining me today, you have no interest in doing less or doing nothing. So if you're going to do stuff, if you're going to attempt things, if you're going to live a full life, you're going to experience setbacks. Setbacks in your professional life, in your career, setbacks in your family life, setbacks in friendships, setbacks in hobbies, setbacks in things you attempt, whatever they are. When you do, I want you to think just for a moment, how do you respond? What do you do when you encounter a setback? The first thing we should talk about is how to define a setback. Now, this says it's a reversal in progress. I think this is so important that we pause for just a moment to reflect on progress according to who. When I experience a setback and it's a reversal or a slowing of my progress, that is as it is defined by me, as progress is defined by me. And often I think we want our whatever endeavor we're involved in, including our lives themselves, we want to see them as something that is growing and increasing and has this upward trajectory, and any stoppage, blockage, reversal, U-turn, different path, we see as a reversal of our progress. But I really don't think it is. And I know it's not if we handle it the right way. Now, I feel like we could talk about setbacks and how to deal with them in the most trite and simplistic and feel good kind of ways. To give you a rah-rah speech and pat you on the butt and send you back in the game. You can do it. Give it your all. I have no interest in that kind of thing. And so what I'm going to share today, what I want to talk to you about, is when we have the right mindset and mentality when we're dealing with setbacks. This is not automatic. I think setbacks can be some of the greatest things that ever happened to us, but it is not automatic. And it is only if we respond in the right way. That's what it comes down to. So the trite expressions, that we could come up with don't apply because they don't work unless we are working, unless we are actually putting ourselves out there, unless we are responding in the right way to setbacks. I believe and live in a way that I see life as our great teacher, our greatest teacher. and that every single thing that happens is an opportunity to grow and learn and evolve and become a better iteration of ourselves. But again, that doesn't just happen, and it's not automatic. Life has so many lessons, and I feel like I'm probably missing most of them. But I know the ones that I am learning, it's because I'm paying attention. It's because I'm approaching life as a student, as someone who is open and wanting to learn. And that gives me my best opportunity to learn. So when you experience a setback, first of all, start with a moment to acknowledge that it is a setback or that it is a disappointment, that is a reversal of at least the expectation you had, and sit with it, grieve it. If it's a loss, if it's something you really wanted to do or really wanted to accomplish, maybe it was a job you really, really love. Maybe it was a relationship that you thought would be a lifelong, friendship or spousal, significant other relationship, a business partnership. You thought this will never end. This is gonna be great, and it's gonna be great forever. And then it turned out it wasn't. Stop, acknowledge, see it for what it is, and give yourself a moment to heal. Take a breath before you begin to react to and acknowledge that it's painful. If we pretend like something doesn't hurt, if we pretend like we're can feel no pain and that we don't care, those are defense mechanisms that are going to keep us from learning the lessons that setbacks offer us. The next thing I would say is once we have acknowledged and once we've sat with it and once we're getting our mindset right to deal with it, the next thing I would say is to realize that setbacks are inevitable. And if you want to use the word failure, seeing setback as a failure, then life and our endeavors are going to be full of setbacks and failures. But I don't believe that a setback is inevitably a failure, or that failures are the last word on the subject. A failure or a setback is only lasting if we allow it to be, if we see it as the final word. So whatever you're attempting to do, let me just give you an example from my life, and then we'll talk about some of yours. What if I stopped writing at the first bad review I received? Now, I can tell you that the first bad review I received, negative review, less than positive review, whatever you want to call it, happened in 1997 when my first novel was published. Got plenty of good reviews, and I promise you I like those a hell of a lot better than the bad ones. But I got those negative ones from the very beginning and have gotten them all the way throughout. So my 40-ish novels, whatever it is, every one of them have gotten good and bad reviews. But if I had read a bad review and said, I'm out, I'm done, I can't be a novelist, I can't write, look at what they're saying, this is terrible, this is a bad similes and metaphors and underdeveloped characters, and the plot lacks credibility, and whatever, I mean, on and on and on, the typical criticisms of most novels. What if I had just stopped? What if on this journey I'm taking, my car broke down and I just stopped? I didn't go any farther. I didn't go back. I just stopped. When I was a much younger man and had a young family, we were going to Atlanta for the weekend. And we had only made it about 20 miles or so, 25 miles. And one of the hoses on the vehicle popped off and we had an issue. We broke down. And 2 small children, and it would have been easy to just give up or stop or just come back home. But Lord, we're a lot closer to home than we were to our destination. But a very nice and capable man who happened to live near where we broke down walked out of his house and looked at what was going on and repaired our vehicle in a matter of minutes. And we continued on. How many times on this journey of whatever life itself or whatever we're involved in, do we experience a setback, a failure, a reversal, and we just give up? We stop. As many of you know, because I've shared this before, this summer, I decided to work on one of my mini projects was to work on my 3-point shot in basketball. I've got the mid-range game down. I shoot a very high percentage in the mid-range because I've done it for decades and I've focused on it and specialized in it and shoot a very high percentage on those mid-range shots. And I knew that if I wanted to develop a 3-point shot, that when I first start, my percentage is not going to be high. It's going to be very low. And in fact, if I'm focusing on that, there's every chance that my mid-range shot is going to decrease in effectiveness in, this percentage of as well. And that's exactly what has happened. And I played yesterday. This is mid-August. And since, May or early June, I've been working on my 3-point shot, practicing every chance I get. Every time we have a game, I go early and practice that 3-point shot. I've made it a focus. And I took some yesterday in the games I played. And I played Saturday night. I took some then. And I am, whereas my mid-range game, the shot my percentage is probably averaging, 70% or something. My 3-point shot is, probably averaging 20 or 30. That's low. That's a setback, right? That's a failure. And like I said, it's caused my mid-range shot to decrease in its effectiveness and the quality of makes on it, quantity. So, but I took a risk. I wanted to add something, and this is the process. Do you think I'm about to stop and give up? Not on your life. I'll be back in the gym today or tomorrow working on that 3-point shot and every other aspect of my game. And when we play, I'll pull it out and see how it goes. As you know, I've been playing guitar, practice every day. Some songs I've wanted to do include something. So I'm starting another little. This just came in today. I just got it from Amazon a few moments ago. And they have no idea what I'm doing. Just about to start. And I promise you, it's not going to sound great and it's going to take a while. And I will experience setbacks and failures. But it would only be a failure if I stopped. If in failing, that was the end. But I promise you it won't be. What are you trying? What are you working on? If you have a setback, give yourself the chance to heal and then realize it's only a failure if that is the end. If it's not the end, it's not a failure. It's an experience. It's part of the process. And tell yourself this. This setback will not be the end of me. And you know how I know? Because one never has been before. It's a good practice to, when we have a setback, when I receive a bad review, when I fail at something, to take some time to examine it. I said we should take some time to acknowledge it and heal. We should also take some time to try to evaluate it and do so without, try to do so with a little distance between us, our self-esteem, our self-worth, our value, and the action we're trying to take. And if we can do that, and so we evaluate the action and say, this can be improved, that can be improved, I can do this better, I see the mistake I made there. Rather than that being something that devastates us personally, we are evaluating the action, we are evaluating what we're attempting. And so the next step I would say is, once you've done that and you have your evaluation and you've learned and you're ready to try to apply what you've learned, then start again, but with a decisive action. And it can be a small action. It can be something very small, but take a step and do it decisively. Decide, okay, I am not giving up. If I, in my example earlier, if I shoot poorly, I played Saturday night, and one of the guys that I played with in high school was there, and I haven't played with him in the 30 whatever years it's been since we've been out of high school. So it's the first time we'd interacted on the basketball court since then. And while we were warming up, we were talking, and I told him everything I just shared with you, that I had specialized in the mid-range game, and that's going well. I'm trying to add the 3-point shot. And so he sat and watched our first several games, and then he decided to play one at the end. Our last game he got in, and I shot a 3. I think he was actually guarding me. I shot a 3 and I made it. And he was like, wow, that's the first one you've made tonight. It wasn't the first one I had shot. It's the first one I made. He was wrong. It was the second one I'd made, but I had probably taken 5 or 6, and I've made 2. The worst thing I could do is say, well, I'm not going to take any more. Because you don't make any shot you don't take. And when that's going poorly, not going particularly well, you could just say, the thing to do is get out. Let me get out. And it'll be a lot easier to say, hey, I'm good at this thing. I'm going to stick with it. I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to try anything new. And every time I'm writing a novel, I encounter obstacles. I encounter issues. I encounter, like, is this possible? Can I make this story work? What's going to come next? I don't know. It'd be easy to give up. So I'll just write a different book. And we see people do that all the time. They have all these unfinished projects because they just stop. And that is the stopping, and especially over and over and over again, that is a failure. Now, if you stop because, hey, you realize that's not the thing for me, this is, fine. But if you do that with thing after thing after thing, then you realize it's my approach. It's not the thing itself that I'm attempting. It's actually my approach, which is, if it gets difficult or if I experience a setback, I'm done. There's a lot of people who give up on relationships because there are setbacks, because there are difficulties, there are issues. There are a lot of people that switch jobs the moment something gets difficult, or it's like, uncomfortable. And that's a big part of when it comes to setbacks, is because we're doing things that are uncomfortable. We're getting out of our comfort zone, trying something new, trying to, maybe we're trying something that we've never really seen before. Nobody's ever done it quite this way, or at least we haven't. And failure, if you want to call it that, setbacks are just a part of it. They are inevitable. But how we deal with them is going to make the difference in everything. The next thing I want to say is, when you're feeling, you may get very stressed or anxious when you have setbacks. You may get nervous. You may get defeated. You may want to give up. But I can tell you that the way out is through. That actually, and I think all the world's wisdom traditions teach this, the obstacle is the way. So often we say, I was doing something, this or that, and life got in the way. But life is the way. The obstacle is the way. Things are never as bad as they seem. It's not as impossible as it seems. And rather than giving up or going, just realize that don't check out, go through. And I'm not saying that going through means with force or that we have to make something happen. I'm not saying that. I really believe that if we're in the right flow state, we're practicing the woo-wee of Taoism, going with that great flow of life. So we're not fighting against the current and the stream. What we're doing is doing our activity in such a way that it aligns with life's purpose, life's activity. And so it seems like effortless effort. It's like swimming with the current as opposed to against it. When you are experiencing these things, find what inspires you. Find what refreshes you, renews you, heals you. Look to others who have accomplished what you're trying to accomplish. See how they did it. It's real important that you don't try to do it just like they did it, because our way is unique to us. And I have a lot of people ask me how to write a book. How do I write? I really want to write a book. How do you do it? And I've always said in all my writing classes that I've taught and all the people I've helped over the years, that the process of learning to write is learning how you write a novel. And it is going to be unique to you. It is your process. It is your approach. And you can, as I did, take wisdom and experience from others and learn from them, but you can't just emulate how they do it. You have to make it work for you. It's so important. Find inspiration, but then make it your own and do it your own way. Remember to think about the serenity prayer in this and everything you do. And let go of that which you have no control over. Do what you can and let go of everything else. And let go of the results. We are so tied to the results that we forget that the thing that matters is the process, is the practice. And that's another thing, that if you focus on the journey itself, if you focus on the practice, if you focus on the process, you may very well see that you don't even think of things in terms of setbacks anymore. It's just the fork in the road. It's just the bend in the path. It's just the obstacle or the opportunity that is in front of me right now. So I'm dealing with it. I don't even see it as a setback. If we have the right mindset, I don't think we will. I think we will see it as part of the journey, part of the process. But if our attention, if our only focus is on the end of the journey, is on the outcome, if we are attached to the outcome, then we are going to be miserable and see setback after setback after setback, after failure after failure after failure. So control what you can. That's primarily your mind. And accept what you can't. Realize that, and I just used this word a few moments ago, but that often, or not often, but every time, what we call setbacks or failures are actually opportunities. Not automatically, not inevitably, but if we will allow them to be. If we have the right mindset, if we're determined, if we're focused, if we are at peace and are just experiencing the journey and the process, and our commitment is to the process and improving and taking joy in the journey, then everything becomes an opportunity. But if we're not, then it's not an opportunity. It's going to be a failure. It's going to be a setback. It's going to be the end of our journey or the end of a particular path. Sometimes the path we're on only takes us a certain distance, and then it's time to follow the path that veers off of that one. And we thought, this path I'm on, this is the one that's going to take me all the way through life. And suddenly life says, no, no, no. This path was just to get you to this juncture so you can go down this path. If I took a poll of everybody listening right now, I promise you that a high percentage of us, where we are in life right now, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, in childhood or adolescence, this is not where we thought we would be. It's also highly likely that many of us have degrees in fields that we do not work in. Oh, I thought I was going to be an architect. Oh, I thought I was going to be a dentist. Oh, I thought I was going to be an engineer. Oh, I thought I was going to be a teacher. But life says, oh, here's an opportunity. Here's the path to follow. And it takes us in. Now, if we set out to do a certain job, then if we're not doing that job, we're going to see it as a failure. We're going to see it as a setback. Oh, I always wanted to be a this or a that, or I thought I was going to be, or my parents wanted me to be that. And the fact that I'm not doing that means that I have failed somehow. But life reveals the way, and it often does so as we're taking each step. We don't know exactly where that step is leading, but we know the thing to do is take the next step. Realize that you, to a very large extent, create your reality. And if you'll change, all that I've been talking about, if you'll change the way you view these things, if you'll have a paradigm shift within your mind, and rather than seeing things as setbacks, see them as opportunities, rather than seeing this everything as either I succeeded 100% or I failed 100%, see that success and failure are this yin yang part of the process, that we need both. Both are important, and actually embrace what we call failure. I would say we might change the wording of it if we really embrace it. But if we change our mindset, we will experience these things again as opportunities, as part of the process. Do you know how many products, how many inventions, how many medications that are right at this moment improving the quality of our lives that were not what the inventor initially meant to invent, are not what the medication was initially intended to cure or to treat. So you were wanting to create a medication that cures a particular kind of cancer, and it turned out that it really helps people with diabetes. Is that a failure? Is that a well, if you say it was cancer or nothing, that's all that mattered, was curing this particular kind of cancer. It doesn't matter that I'm helping people lower their cholesterol or helping them with their diabetes or whatever it happens to be, it's a failure. And there's so many things in our lives that are just like that. Oh, I intended to do this, but it turned out to be that. And rather than seeing that it turned out to be as something beautiful and powerful and a great experience for us and others, and something that does good in the world and can help others, we're disappointed, we're discouraged, because that's not what we set out to do. So it all comes to, how are we picturing, how are we viewing, how are we experiencing, how are we thinking about these things? It all comes down to that. I think that we should be ever growing, ever evolving, ever changing. And to do that, it means we're going to have to do things that we're not good at. We're going to have to try things that we've never done before. And in that ambiguity of something new, we're going to fail. We are going to come up short. We are going to shoot a low percentage. We are going to, I remember when growing up, my neighbor decided he wanted to learn to play the saxophone. And he happened to be my cousin. And his mom made him practice outside. And so the whole neighborhood was subjected to how bad he sounded on that saxophone. Whatever we attempt to do is not going to be a masterpiece the first time. It may not be a masterpiece the millionth time we do it. But if we're approaching it the right way, that millionth time is going to be a lot better than the first time. Congratulate yourself, appreciate yourself for trying, for putting yourself out there, for doing something that pushes you past your comfort zone, that causes you, that allows for growth. You should be proud of yourself for doing that instead of being harsh or self-critical about the result. Forget about that. Focus on you tried. You put yourself out there. You did stuff. That takes such courage. It takes such courage to put yourself out there, to create something, to try something new, to go in a different direction, to move, to get a new job, to end a relationship, to start a relationship, to start a business. I mean, it's so easy for the critics to sit back and just tell you how short you are coming up, how pathetic what you're doing is, how if you would just do something else or do it differently, it would be so much better. And they're sitting in their comfortable armchair giving you criticism for something rather than doing anything themselves, they're criticizing you, and you are the one in the ring. You are the one that's actually doing it. Appreciate yourself for doing that. And realize that what goes along with that are setbacks. And each and every one of them are opportunities for growth and evolution, and will actually are stepping stones to get us closer to where we're going, to the best versions of ourselves. We're out of time. I'll probably pick this up again next week, and I'd like for you to think about it this week and share with me next week some of your setbacks and opportunities. And hope y'all have a great week. Thanks for being here.
Have a great week.
Thanks, Michael.
Take care, everybody.